Welcome to Ride On Toys Australia. We're going to be doing a video how to assemble a Ford Ranger. So just start off first, we've got a few tools over here. So I'll get Steve to come around. So we just got a normal Stanley knife or a scissors just to cut open the box. We've got a low voltage screwdriver. We do recommend not using a cordless drill because it will rip through the plastic when you're putting the screws unless you know exactly what you're doing. Or you just use an old school screwdriver, and you will need a set of pliers. So we'll start back over here. So when opening the box, we always recommend, if you're using a Stanley knife or a knife or anything like that, always start from the side. Get that open, lift it up, so as you're trailing through, you don't actually cut through anything if it's inside the box. So once we open the box, what we like to do is get all the parts out. Get rid of the foam, makes it easier to pull out of the box. And also what we usually do is just cut through the plastic instead of trying to pull it out later on. So you've got your steering wheel there with some the screws and everything in it. So I'll just open those up, lay them out on the table. So you got your normal charger, then also you'll have your remote control, and then over the Christmas period we usually add an extra receiver. That's just a spare as a backup. That does control the whole car. Got your front windscreen. And then your manual. So hopefully you won't need to use that after you watch this video. Get the wheel covers ready. Then you got your seat. So I'll just put that here on the floor. Alright, when you're pulling out stuff out of the car, we do recommend try pulling out the wheels first because you just don't want to pull. There is a wire connected to the light bar, so you just don't want to get it snagged in anything and you rip it. So that's the light bar. So you don't want to get that snagged, so just put this over here. And that's our last wheel. Oops. Got the wheels falling everywhere, come on, balance. Alright, so when pulling the car out of the box, alright, we do recommend always trying to carry it from its wheel arches. Because it's one of the strongest points in the car, so you don't break anything while you're pulling it out or scratch anything. So I'll get Steve to help me on the other side. So just grab that out of the box, move that to the side. Alright, so what we usually do, instead of working off the floor, we fold up the box. Flip it over, and that's our little workbench. So as I mentioned, grab from underneath the wheel arches. So I'll put that here. So the first thing you want to do is basically take out the motors. So once you pull out the motors, just unclip that. Unclip that. So as you can see here, we've got an L, and then over here we've got an R. All right, so that's your left and your right. So when you're doing it, take out the motor, and remember this is the left motor. All right, so if you're going to flip the car over just 180, all right, you can leave the motor on this side, that'll be your left side. If you go turn it around and just flip it that way, just make sure you swap sides with the motors. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass that to Steve over there. So what I'm going to do is do a 180. I'll turn it around. Now I just took a little clip part off. I'll put that back on a little bit later. That's stuck to my pants. So what we want to do first is put the wheels on. Once I do that, we'll then go through the next stage. So with the wheels, you want to have a look at this. So as you can see, one of the wheels has a very large cog on it, and then the other one has a smaller cog on the back. So the smaller cog goes to the front, the larger cog goes to the back. So I'll start with the front wheel and just slide it in. Then go with the second wheel. Slide that in. While you're doing this as well, always have a look, because you've got this little T-axle, sometimes it could be sticking out, so you want to make sure it does line up. Hi guys, and we're back. Sorry about that, we just had a customer come pick up. So as I was just talking in regards to when you're putting it together, just make sure there's a little T here. All right, sometimes that is out and this is off centered a bit, so you want to make sure that's pushed in all the way down. All right, so as we said, going back, front wheels, small cogs. All right, with the back, what we need to do is we need to put the motors in. So what I'll get the torch, so I'll get Steve to come around. So as you can see here, there's a little cutout. All right, we want to feed the wire through there. And then what that does is the wire will come out underneath the seat, so when we connect it later on. So what I'll do is plug that through here first and get the motor on the axle. As I'm putting the motor on the axle, I push the wire through, and then what you want to do is push the motor all the way and get that black part of the motor around that loop and push it all in. So that's nice and firm, locked in. So then we'll do the other side. Same thing. And remember the left and the right, as we mentioned before. So motor through the axle, run it through the opening, push it all the way through, get that black part in firmly, and that's it. So now we'll put the back wheels again, large cog to the back, because if you do them the wrong way around, first of all the car will sit wrong, and second of all you'll have one part of the axle sticking out further than the wheel by quite a bit. Same with the next one, and they're in. So now what we want to do is we'll bring over, and I'll put it here. I like to place it here so it's all centered. So we'll open this up. While I'm opening this up, you will end up with extra screws and maybe washers and one of these logs. So what you want to do is grab 4 of these. All right, with these, put them on after you put the wheels on. So I'll get Steve to come around. You don't want to basically put the wheel off and put these on, because it's going to push out. and you don't want to hammer these in or anything with force because it will. So you don't want to hammer any of these in, because if you hammer it in too hard, it might split the wheel. So what we're going to do, push that in, nice and firm. Do the same with the front wheel. And we'll just go around here. And same with here again. So next step is, just want to grab a washer, 4 washers and 4 split pins. So what you want to do, just throw the washer on. All right, I usually drop the split pin from the top instead of from the side or the bottom, because that way you don't have to hold it. Same here, so that way it just holds into place and it makes it easier later on to put them on. Same here. And same here. So now this is where we need the pliers. So a little trick I do with these split pins, I've got the little pointy plier. I put it in and hold it into the hole like that. Whoops. And just bend one side left and the other side. And that's your split pin on. And just repeat on all 4 wheels. We are taking our time on this video just so we can run at your pace as well. So it gives you time to do it instead of just saying do this and then we jump on to the next part. All right, so that's on. So what we want to do now is put the wheel covers on. Whoops. So with the wheel covers, you'll see it's got little points sticking out, and then you already got pre-drilled holes in that. So what you want to do, the easiest way to put them on is just go like this, and you'll just hear it click in. So like again, just go like that and you'll hear it click in. So what we want to do is grab a few screws. What I like to do is do first side, do the opposite side, and then that way you've got it locked in, and then just work your way around. So I'll do one more wheel. Same thing, spin it around, clips in. Remember, you don't need to go too tight on these. Just need them to hold firm in. You don't want to thread through the plastic. So what we might do is I'll finish off the other wheels. If you want to pause the video till you finish the other wheels, and then we'll continue on the next steps. Okay guys, we're back. As you can see, we've just flipped the car over. We've gotten rid of the box. The reason we got rid of the box, because when you're pushing and stuff like that, you want to be on the ground. So now we're going to start with the top part of the car. So what we want to do is, first of all, while we're here, just move this seat belt over to the side. All right, you want to clip, you got the, with the motor cables, you'll see one side's longer than the other. So that one belongs to this side. This one belongs to that side. All right, so those are your motors clipped in. All right, this is your main power source. So when you are clipping it in, don't try to do it in an angle like this or anything like that. Make sure it's dead straight and just push it straight in. Because if you bend it or anything or put it in an angle, it could bend the pins out, and then all you have to do if that does happen is just get a thin screwdriver, straighten it up, and then put it back in. All right, next step we like to do before we put the window and it becomes in the way, put the steering wheel connection through. What you want to do, there's a little opening here. You just feed the clip all the way inside. All right, and I did forget, I need to undo the screw on the steering wheel. So that's done. So feed that through. All right, so one thing you'll find, once you're trying to line this up, the axle's sitting all very low at basically this part. So what you want to do while you're doing that, put your hand underneath the car. So find the axle here, where we showed you before, and just push that in so it goes all the way up. So that gives you more room, and then it makes it easier to put straight through the hole. So I'll just grab the torch. You can see it? All right. So what we'll do, run the screw straight through, put the nut, there is a cutout here so it holds the nut into place. So put your finger like that, hold it in, and just screw the screw until it's tight, and that's your steering wheel done. So next step, what I like to do is put the light bar on. So with the light bar, you've got a little cutout here. Run your cable through there. All right, make sure it's held nice. I don't connect the cable straight away, just in case you pull or anything like that, it will break the wire. So what you want to do is stand behind the car, line these two in, the fronts, and then basically just clip these in. And then same, hold the front and just force the back in a little bit. If it doesn't go in, as you can see, don't try to force it. You can actually see the little plastic bits sticking out. So just push that in, and that's clipped in now. So your thing's all clipped in. Now what we'll do is we'll do the bonnet and the windscreen. So we'll start off with the windscreen. What you want to do is get the two ends, line them up. I usually get this side in, all right, and then what you want to do is follow it through. So if you're trying to put the other side, you want to make sure these are all sitting in right, and then all you have to do on this side is then just line it up and push it in. If you have trouble getting this side in, it means one of these isn't sitting in right in the front bit here. So now that's in, all we got to do is grab two screws. And just screw the front windscreen in. And that's your front windscreen done. So with the bonnet, I will show you this before we put it on. See if Steve can sort of see the watermarks, as people refer to them. So these aren't actually watermarks. That's, if you remember, I took the plastic film off. That's just from the plastic film. So we will go through that in a minute, how to get rid of that. It doesn't come off with polish or anything like that. It's a very simple way to do it. So with putting the bonnet in, easiest way to do it, put this in an angle. Always use your hand so it doesn't break. Put it in an angle, get it in, and then because you're already in an angle, this one's going to be easier to put in as well. And that's basically your bonnet in. All right. So one thing we have found is because these aren't molded to the car yet, so it really hasn't flexed to the shape. So sometimes you feel that the bonnet doesn't sit right. So what you just got to do, give it a nice little push from the front till it locks into place. All right, because you've got little magnets there, and lock that into place. After a while, it will take shape and it will just sit firmly on there. Now we've done that. Always, before we do that, I forgot to do the part of the light bar. So we've got the wire for the light bar. what we want to do, there's a little opening here, you'll see. Just run that cable through there. And Steve will show you from the other side. Run that through, and then you'll have a little clip here. You just clip that in. And then what we usually do, so I'll get the keys. With the keys, when you start these cars, it's got 2 clicks on the start button, so click over. And what I like to do before we put the seat on, check it all starts, making sure all the lights are working, make sure all the spotlights are clipped in right, and just go forward, go back. All right, so a few things to run through. If you've got it in 4-wheel drive and the car doesn't move, it means you got the motors back to front. A quick way to work that out is if you put it into 2-wheel drive, all right, and you go to forward and you accelerate and it goes backwards, that means you got the motors the wrong way around on the back. All right, so that means you just got to take off the wheels, take off the split pins, and just swap the motors over. Other than that, that's pretty straightforward. So then now we've done all that and checked it. Last part, I'm just going to put the chairs. So with the chair, easiest way to do it, put it in an angle, line these up. It's got 2 little cutouts. Line this up, and then just push down, and then you're in. All right, because if you put it straight, it's very hard to get in. So once you've done that, you just need 2 screws. Through the hole. This first side. Second side. Sometimes these rings are sort of like not lined up. Just give it a little push. Don't try to push too because you'll rip the rings out. Just put a push to the side and put the screw in. That's it. So that's basically your Ford Ranger assembled. We've just got one more thing to go. The final touch is your mirrors. Just put in an angle, put the other clip in, and then just push. I usually like to bend the mirror and just push from the hard part of the plastic, and you hear a little click. Same on the other side. Right, and clip. So that's your Ford Ranger assembled. We will do another section. We'll show you how to fix the bonnet, and we'll go through how to sync the remote and operations. All right, guys, we'll stay tuned for the next part. All right, guys, it's Maz here. We're back. What we're going to go through, we did discuss before and earlier in the video when we were assembling the Ford Ranger. A lot of the painted Ford Rangers, the bonnets are wrapped in plastic, and what happens with the paint, it gives like a watermark on the bonnet, and it looks like the paint is not right. It's a very easy fix. If you've got time and you're assembling it during the day or anything like that, if you just chuck it in the sun, all those marks will evaporate. If you're assembling it the night before Christmas or a night before birthday, another easy way is just grab a hairdryer, put it on high heat, and just go over it. So I'm going to use a heat gun here. So I'm just going to lower the heat on it. So I'll get Steve to focus on here. And Steve will give me the thumbs up once he sees the mark. So hopefully you can see the watermarks. Yep. So I'm just going to go over it with the heat gun. And as you can see, it's starting to disappear. Just like magic. I think sometimes I enjoy the Ford Rangers that they have these marks because I just love the effect it gets, how it just disappears. It doesn't matter how much you rub it with water or polish it or do anything, it's not going to go until it gets a little bit of heat. So just keep on going over it. Don't focus on one spot too long. Just keep on moving it around and you'll start seeing it evaporate, and basically all the things cleared. Also, don't forget you were assembling the car, so it might be fingerprints, so maybe just get a damp cloth, wipe over it, make sure there's no like it's sort of like a soft cloth. So all these marks here now, they're just hand marks from us pushing the bonnet in. So that's basically the bonnet with no marks. Alright, next step I'll get to, if Steve comes around here, with the key start. So we get a lot of people asking us, you know, they started their cars and the lights on the car lights on the car ain't working. All right. So it's a very simple fix. All you got to do is the key has a second click to the right, and that starts the car with the lights. Also with your two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive switch. All right. So a little trick. Once you're on four-wheel drive, a lot of you might not know this, there is a little carry handlebar that just flips from underneath here. So if you want to move the car, or if the battery's died out, instead of carrying the car, you can just lift it up. All right, but one thing you got to notice is when you're pushing it and it's in four-wheel drive, it's very hard to pull. All you got to do, flick it to two-wheel drive, it releases the front motors, and now it's easier to move around. Second thing we get a lot of people asking us about is with the touch screen. All right, some packages vary. Sometimes they have the SD card already in there, or sometimes it might be in a little satchel. So it depends from shipment to shipment. So if you find a little satchel with an SD card, you just got to put it in here. So it's just a little slot, little SD card. They do come with a 512 megabyte little SD card. You can probably replace it with a bigger storage, and then you can put your own music in there. With the FM radio, so it does come untuned. So all you want to do is tap the screen. You'll see auto, and it'll say all channel continue. So yes, hit yes. And then what it will start doing is programming all the radio stations. So let it run its course. So we'll just let that go. Once it finds a radio station, it locks it in. So I'll let that run through. Also, you've got a Bluetooth function on there. All you've got to do is press Bluetooth function on the screen. Once you've got the Bluetooth searching, just open your phone, go to search for Bluetooth devices, you will find it, then hit pair, and then you can actually play music straight from your phone. And then you got some other options in there. If you're a bit stuck with it, we do have a little manual for the stereo we can email through to you. Just send an email through to support asking for that manual, and we'll send that through for the operation of the actual stereo. So we're just waiting here, it's nearly done.
February in aim to lead.
Unfortunately, the only thing it doesn't have is GPS. So let it run its course. While it's doing that, I'll go grab the remote. So now that's all tuned in. So if you want to listen to radio, you can go to here, tap the screen, go to channels, and then it'll give you a drop down of all the tuned in channels, and you can just scroll through them, and then you got your music. All right, and then you do have your volume button, everything at the top. You do have a battery indicator as well. It tells you how much charge is left in the car. And so what we'll do now, which I think one of the important things is the parent remote. All right, when syncing the parent remote, what you want to do is make sure the car is completely switched off. So not completely, you'll know straight away once the screen's off, the lights are off. What you want to do is hold down the button that says car select. The remote you probably has a picture of the Ford Ranger. We're just using a generic one here. So all you want to do is hold car select, which is a small button. You'll see that little light start flashing rapidly. So what you want to do is start the car. As soon as you hear the engine noise, take your finger off. So now that should be synced, and I hope I'm using the right remote.
Bluetooth mode.
I don't think I'm using the right remote. So let me grab another remote. Right, now we're back from the commercial break. So we'll try this again. Sorry about that, guys. We've got quite a few remotes lying around here. So once again, same steps. Hold down the car select button, wait for the light to start flashing, turn the key, release, and now we got control. So you got your forward and your back. All right, you'll see with these lights, you can actually increase the speed. So this is your control of the speed. You've got the speed button here. So as I press once, so that's your slow and that's your real fast. So you'll see the change in the lights. So you got really slow, that's your lowest speed. Then you got your medium speed, and then you got your full speed. Then you also have a stop button. So if your child's driving and you want to stop the car, you can press stop. Or you can actually just press reverse or forward, you take control. Because this is not an electric steering, you won't have full control of the steering if they're turning in another direction. Other than that, that's pretty much wrapping up the Ford Ranger. Hope you enjoy, and yeah, stay tuned for more cars and exciting times. Catch you later.